All right, well let's get started here. Welcome everybody to the Wayne Chamber of Commerce virtual lunch and learn for February 24th. Today we have two special guests with us. We've got Giancarlo DiLeonardo, he's the director of Passaic County Division of Economic Development, and we also have Michelle Osorio, who's the Small Business Services Team NJ Economic Development Authority. Did I get that right, Michelle?
Yes.
Awesome. And today, our two special guests are going to be sharing with us state and county resources for Wayne small businesses. What can the county and the state do for our businesses to help us become more successful? So, on that note, I'm going to turn things over to Giancarlo. It is all yours. I'm going to mute everybody and just let you do your thing.
All right, thanks, Ferris, and thank you, Wayne Chamber, for hosting and having us. I think I speak for Michelle too when I say we're grateful to speak to an audience of business owners who want to learn more about what they can do to take their business to the next level. So we're hoping that we can help along the way. So as Ferris mentioned, I'm Giancarlo DiLeonardo. I'm the Economic Development Director here in Passaic County. I started about a year ago. Previously, I worked at the EDA, and I'm also a Passaic County boy. I'm born and raised in Hawthorne. I live in Montclair currently, but I know the inroads, back roads of Wayne, all the corridors. I probably passed by your business if I haven't been inside your business, over the years. So happy to be with you all, and look forward to working with you. So just a little bit more about what this office does. So the Division of Economic Development, we do governmental advocacy. We work with you on grants and loan navigation, kind of identifying what might be a good resource for you, whether it's through the EDA, which Michelle will talk about some of the grants that the EDA is currently offering in a little while. But there's also other grants that are out there from the Federal Small Business Administration. There's things through the Board of Public Utilities, DEP, what have you. There's also different banks out there. So I don't know if we have any bankers on the call. Sometimes we do. But different banks obviously specialize in different things. And one of my duties is to get to know the banks, get to know what they're offering, and kind of help steer you towards one that might make more sense for what your particular needs are. If you know what your needs are, or if you don't know what your needs are, I can help talk with you, evaluate, and make some referrals to folks. This is something I really enjoy because I come from a real estate background. I do location assistance. I'm not a realtor. I don't have MLS access, but I do have CoStar access. So I can help you with commercial real estate, thinking about spaces, if you want to move, if you're looking to add space, if you're looking to open up a second location, I can help you with that, identify kind of a short list for you, and then put you in touch with some real estate brokers or agents who can better help you kind of navigate the process. And then the last kind of big piece of what I do is work with our talent pipeline, our workforce development side. So we have a workforce development board here in the county. I sit on that board. I'm partnered with all four of our higher ed institutions. We have Passaic County Community College, Berkeley College, obviously William Patterson is in Wayne, and Montclair State University. So I do a lot of work with them, working with students, working with their different offices. So something that we've started doing, and this is, something I've kind of made it a point to do in my tenure here at the county is build partnerships. So one of whom is right here with the Wayne Chamber, working with Joe, with Ferris and the team, kind of learning a little bit more about what you guys have going on, seeing how I can step in and help, sharing resources, things that come through my office and make sure you guys have access to them. But that's also with our higher ed partners. That's also with individual businesses and obviously with our friends at the state. So Michelle is a good friend of mine. I mentioned I worked at the EDA. We used to sit across from each other in Newark, and now we're on the road together quite a bit here in the county. I'm working on marketing visibility. I'm trying to get Passaic County specifically, but then obviously individual towns, individual businesses in front of larger audiences. So, obviously with all the things that are going on this year, I'll talk about that in a second, but trying to get more visibility for our business community here in Passaic County. I think for a long time, we get overshadowed by things that are going on in Bergen or in Hudson or even in Essex, things that are going on in Newark. And I just like to get a little bit more attention to what we have going on here in Passaic County. So that's through various channels, nothing like immediate and specific, but obviously trying to beat the drum about what we have going on here in Passaic County, and I'll continue to be an advocate in that way. I do think about Wayne as a destination. I'll go more into that as time goes on, and obviously as we work together more. But I view Wayne as a destination, so getting people to visit and then stay, spend their dollars, visit, enjoy their time here. Obviously, Willowbrook Mall is a big draw. The university is a big draw. You have medical facilities, but there's a lot of like hidden gems in Wayne, different corridors, different communities. You guys have the lakes, things like that, great schools in Wayne, and obviously like a lot of great community, which I think is the big thing, exemplified by Wayne Day and some of the other things you guys have going on in town. So again, talking about that exposure, that county support, I will assist you with grant applications. So if you're a business that needs support on filling out one of the grants that Michelle is going to talk about in a couple minutes, I will do that. I will physically come to you if that's what it takes. I will navigate through questions you might have. I'll help you identify if a consultant is better than me to help you through the process. I'm happy to give you some names of people who work in this space. But just again, thinking about how I can help you access these resources. That's a big part of my job. I mentioned the university partnerships. I'm doing some work actually with William Patterson right now with the business school. We're doing a larger project, kind of looking at Wayne as a whole and kind of how Wayne is focused on economic development. And I presented to the council back in the fall. We're going to be doing some follow-up on that this year, now that the students have had some more time to work through some of the initial pieces of the project. And I anticipate having a kind of a full report out to the council early this summer. So that's coming. Some initiatives we have, and I know you guys have a restaurant week in July, Joe. You can nod your head. I think it's around 4th of July week. The county has a restaurant week countywide. Obviously, we'd love some Wayne businesses to participate. So if any of you are restaurants on this call, we'd love to have you join. It's May 11th through the 17th. When Michelle starts talking, I'll put a link in the chat so that folks can sign up if you're interested. We do have a website called cpasaitcounty.org. It's kind of our destination marketing website. So that's a landing place for people who want to do anything around tourism or any visiting here to the county. We have, and I will send you this slideshow will be available. I'll send it off to Ferris and Joe. They'll circulate among the members after. But we have a page to promote events. So if you want to submit an event you're having at your business or in town, please do that. We will share it on our social media. It has good reach. They do paid advertisements for events and things like that. And again, just getting the word out to more people, more audiences. Wayne is a great community. I think it's our 4th largest by population here in the county. I think it's like our 2nd largest by size here in the 2nd or 3rd largest by size. But there's more to the county beyond Wayne, and we'd love to have more people experience Wayne and see what you guys are doing there, your businesses and your community. And again, getting the word out is 90% of the battle. I don't have to tell folks on this call that.
Hey, Giancarlo.
Yes, sir.
Going back, could you give a little more detail about what the partnership with the William Patterson Business School could
Sure.
do for Wayne businesses?
Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit more in a minute, Ferris. It's on one of my later slides, but yeah, just briefly about our project with Wayne. So our project with Wayne is a partnership with the business school. They have a group of MBA students, so students who are working on their master's in business administration. There are students who are at various stages of their life. Obviously, you think about grad students, some of them are in their 20s, but some of them are folks who are going back to school to earn an advanced degree. And they're working on kind of a little bit of a strategy for, Wayne is interested, as you guys may know, in town. There was an economic development commission that had been on the books on the council, and it's kind of been defunct for a number of years. And there's kind of a movement, I think is the right word to say, a movement to kind of, well, what should we be doing instead? Maybe what we had on the books doesn't work. What could we be doing instead? So we've had a group of students over the last couple months evaluating what are other towns doing, what are things that they could be doing, what are things that an entity or the town or a separate 501(c)(3) or whatever, what could they be doing to help boost Wayne? Again, draw more businesses to Wayne, support the existing businesses, complement and supplement the work that I do here at the county. And we've had successive groups of students over the course of the last couple semesters look through options. And so really excited about what they're coming up with, and trying to check in with the council from time to time on what's going on. There's a little subcommittee of the council working on this, and excited to present kind of a final report later this spring, probably May or early June, if is my guess, where we'll end up.
Fantastic.
And I'll talk a little bit more about William Patterson in a second. But
All right.
so what's happening in 26? So the Winter Olympics are done. So that, this one is a little bit past, but just to say, there's a lot going on here in the world, in the state, in the county. America 250, you guys are home of the Dye Mansion over by the golf course. There's a bunch of historic homes that the county is working in partnership with the town on Hamburg Turnpike. There's a bunch of other things, obviously, around history that are going on with the university, with the town, and obviously other parts of the county as well. But we want to promote that. Our Office of Cultural Affairs here in the county is doing a great job of promoting events. That Passaic County website I mentioned earlier is littered with different cultural events, historic events, reenactments, all sorts of celebrations about, Passaic County's role in the 250th anniversary of this country. So please be on the lookout for those. We'd love to have, participation, obviously, ways that businesses can get involved. But again, there are also opportunities for people to gather and get together. So that's something that I'm particularly interested in. I think especially, the World Cup's getting a lot of press. You'll see the links here around a vendor interest form. Businesses are encouraged to submit, what they do, what they can offer. The host committee, FIFA, are actively reviewing applications for that. So if your business has something on offer that could be a benefit to, the 8 games that are here in the Meadowlands, we'd love to have you think about that, submitting. And again, you'll get this link, you'll be able to submit. If you're a restaurant, if you're a business that has hosting ability, there's a public viewing license that's accessible. If it's free, if it's open to the public, there's no cost, there's just a sign up. But again, if you're doing any celebration or gathering around the World Cup, we'd love to know about it because we'd like to promote that. And the full match schedule is on here as well. You may have heard at the end of last week, there was an announcement. Michelle might talk about this. I'm not sure because I think the details are still forthcoming. But the large fan festival that was going to be happening in Jersey City around the World Cup is not happening. It's going to be more of a decentralized celebration of the World Cup here in New Jersey. So soon, I imagine we'll be getting some notification about small grants that maybe the chamber could take advantage of, or the town, or individual businesses, and we'll learn more as time goes on here. But if there are people who are interested in hosting either a viewing party or a larger fan festival or something like that, we'd like to know about it. And as that application comes out, if I can be a resource for folks filling that out, let me know. I do speak EDA, so I understand what those applications look like and what they sound like and what they require. So speaking of, attracting attention. So one of the things that I'm really interested in is thinking about being visitor ready here in the county. And again, the chamber, you and your members play a big role in that. So thinking about attractive storefronts, thinking about updated information, your social media presence. These are all things that are really important. Making a first impression as people visit, experience, like not only now during the World Cup, but anytime. We really want to make sure that there's the ability for you to stand out, compared to other folks who maybe aren't putting in that effort. So there's some resources available for that. Michelle's going to talk about one of them in a couple minutes. And then the universities, again, can be a partner in this. Thinking about specials in conjunction with local events or activities, again, that's where that partnership comes in. If we know what you're doing, you know what we're doing, we can work together on, getting the word out about things. And obviously, trip chaining is a big thing. So for the uninitiated, if someone, let's just say, goes to the Dye Mansion, they're in Wayne anyway, or they're at the golf course anyway, what are they going to pass on the way? Are they going to stop on Valley Road? Are they going to go to Taste of Tuscany or Jackie's or Whole Foods, where are they going to stop? Sultan, Sultan just opened. They're really great. Thinking about that, right? How can we connect the dots between things that are going on anyway, trip generators, people are going there anyway, and how do we get people to stop along the way to different things? And that's part of what we're trying to do. Again, investing in marketing and advertising, developing a sustainable strategy. No one is going to put in a ton of effort and then not get results. So you got to just think about, kind of, I hate to say slow plotting, but be very consistent. Consistency wins the day in advertising and marketing. I say this as a son of someone who worked in marketing and advertising for 30 years. I watched my dad do this forever, and it's great to do specials. It's great to do flash in the pan type things, but just be consistent. I think people really appreciate consistency in business and your advertising and your marketing. So those are things to think about. And then lastly, don't be afraid to innovate. Think about how you can be different. What is your standout product? What is it about your business that is different? What is it that makes you special? Again, think about that and put that out there. That ongoing assistance, these are things that I will continue to do kind of regardless, that one-on-one assistance, whether it's for grants or financing, thinking about location. We do host webinars and trainings, just like you guys are doing here through the chamber, but I know I share things with Ferris and Joe, and as they're available, please take advantage. Members, they're free. 99.9% of what I'm ever going to offer will have no cost. That's just part of being in government. You'll know that as with me as a partner. There may be some things I partner on that have like a nominal fee just to, keep the event moving, but 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, you're not going to pay anything if I'm sharing an event with you. And then channeling opportunities to you. So again, if I know you, if I'm meeting you, if I'm, a sense of what's going on in the world, and again, your chamber partners are big advocates on this. But if I know, we have XYZ companies in Wayne, I'm going to make sure that Wayne knows, hey, there's an opportunity for this. Joe, send it out to your members. Ferris, send it out to your members. There might be someone in Wayne who could take advantage of this. I'm going to keep doing that. That's part of my job. So something to think about. Some other resources, and again, this is just to be transparent and about what we've got. I send out an e-newsletter every month. It goes out the beginning of the month. I think it's going out actually this Thursday or this Friday for March. But I have a couple links in there, and if you subscribe to it, you'll see it. If not, you can sign up, and I'm happy to make sure you get it. But I have a business assistance request form. We're trying to go digital. We have a lot of paper from my predecessor that I'm trying to sort through. So I want to know more about your business. I want to know more about what you need. It'll just help me help you better. Me and the team here help you better. That business resources, we kind of curate this list of all the different resources that are out there. Again, 99% of them are free. The 3 that I mentioned up here, the Small Business Development Center, the WCEC Women's Business Center, and New Jersey Business Action Center, they're all free resources. They're all funded through the state, and they're all available to you if you need assistance with setting up a business plan. So they do different workshops around signing a lease, doing AI, doing advertising, marketing. There's all sorts of things that are available. And again, it's free for you, for chamber members, for anyone. So just please take advantage. And I try to update that regularly. And the grants and incentives. The EDA website is great. It's nice. And Michelle, don't come kick me under the table. But sometimes it's a little hard to understand. So I try to distill it down to very short. Here's the quick links that you need. Here's the things that you should be paying attention to as you're filling out your application. And again, I update that regularly. So that's a link that's available that we maintain. It's a Word document. You don't have access to edit it. I do. And I will update it continuously. And the links are on there so that you can quickly navigate where you need to go. Some other resources, again, these are just things that are out there. UCEDC is a nonprofit economic development corporation. They're based down in Union County. That's where they started, but they work statewide. So they help small businesses. They have different trainings. They also do financing. So for those like real micro businesses here in Wayne, they might want to take advantage of something like that if they're looking to start and scale up. Maybe they're not bankable with a big institution. And then SCORE, they're a national organization. They do business mentoring, and they actually have like retired executives that volunteer their time to coach businesses. So you can sign up, they'll match you with somebody in your world, and they can help you, which is really interesting. So there's a chapter that's in, our North Jersey area. I know some folks in, who live and work in like Glen Rock, Ridgewood, Wayne, who participate. But this might be something you could take advantage of, or maybe some of you on this call want to be a mentor. So think about that. They're a great organization. I've worked with them a couple times around the county, and I strongly recommend the work that they're doing. So I did promise one more thing on William Patterson. I'm sorry before I close out and send to Michelle, but my contact information's up on the screen. Screenshot it, find me. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on there too. Please, don't hesitate to reach out. But a little bit more about William Patterson. So our partners at William Patterson actually have the Small Business Development Center for the county. So Melissa Rosario is our regional director. Her and her staff are wonderful. They have a list of consultants. They have all sorts of classes and events and things that are going on there. Highly recommend taking a look at what they do. You don't have to be a startup. You don't have to be a new business to take advantage of what they have there. I'm doing my little commercial for Melissa. So Michelle, make sure we get this for her later on. But yeah, Melissa and her team do a wonderful job. They have a cohort now. Actually, it's called LEADS. Please don't ask me what it stands for. It's an acronym. And it last year they did a cohort of women-owned businesses, and they actually went through a 16-week kind of boot camp helping women-owned businesses kind of scale up. And at the end, they had like a Shark Tank type event, and the winner got a $5,000 grant from M&T Bank. They were the sponsor. Second and third place also received some funding as well. But this cohort this year is inclusive. It's all businesses. It's not just women-owned businesses. And I believe they're still taking applications through the end of the month. So you have a couple more days to check into that. And if you have an interest in it and you don't find it on the website by searching, just send me an email. I'll get you connected with Melissa and her team. But they'll meet you at one of their offices. They have an office in Wayne, obviously at the business school, 1600 Valley Road. But they're also in Patterson. So if you have any Wayne Chamber members who might be not in Wayne, which is possible, you might have someone who wants to come down to Patterson. They're down there as well. I think that's it, Ferris. I'm done. I'm going to pass it off to Michelle.
Well, before we
Michelle.
do that,
Oh yeah, please. Yeah.
we certainly want to open things up for questions. I do have the chat open if there are any questions anybody has. But from me, you had mentioned submitting events to the county for
Sure.
promotion.
Yep.
Do you have some examples of like what some business events have been promoted this way?
Yeah. So I mean, if you think about like bar trivia, like that's a big thing. That's a very popular thing that we will promote. If you are having, I think in the fall we had some of the farms in the northern part of the county do like hay rides and pumpkin patches and kind of haunted experiences. We had people like that. If you're just doing a sale at your business, that might not be the right thing. But if you're having like an event that's more geared towards a wider, broader audience, that would probably be a good thing to submit. And then just broader the chamber, like, you may want to put Wayne Day on there. You may want to promote that. I know you guys do pretty well. And my grandmother lives in one of the senior complexes across from town hall, and I went to go visit her on Wayne Day last year, and oh my God, the parking was insane. So I respect that. I love what you guys are doing there, but I think more people should know about it, right? You guys have a bunch of small businesses that are there, whether it's food purveyors or people who are just selling their wares. But that's like something else to, again, get a little bit more attention to what you guys are doing. And then in town more broadly, it doesn't have to just be businesses. If it's things that the town's doing, we're happy to promote it through that avenue.
Good stuff. And that's all Joe, by the way, not the chamber.
Oh, okay. Oh, look. I'm sorry, Joe. I put you wore your chamber hat. Apologies.
Credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Appreciate that.
Any
I
other
don't.
questions from the group?
I don't have any questions in the chat from the group here, but you're certainly all of you are welcome to put them in there. I appreciate you, Giancarlo, and stick around, don't disappear.
Oh
There
no,
might be
I'm
some questions afterwards, but we're
sure.
going to shift gears here and send things over to Michelle Osorio with the state here, who's going to give us some more resources. You ready, Michelle? You are muted. Hang on. Did I mute you?
All right.
There you go.
Awesome. All right. So can everybody see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you, Joe, Ferris, and the Wayne Chamber. Really excited to be able to be on here and meet everyone, right? Due to the weather and all that fun stuff. So my name is Michelle Osorio. I'm a Senior Small Business Liaison for the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. For those of you who may not be familiar with who we are part of state government, and we are the state's principal agency for growing the economy. We are committed to providing equitable access to opportunity, job creation, and overall just building a stronger and fair economy for the state. So, in turn, what that means is we currently have over 60 programs that can look like grants, loans, tax credits, and other incentives that support the business community across the state of New Jersey. So, while I focus primarily on working with our small businesses, small, micro, even some mid-sized businesses on grants and financing, we have programs for manufacturers, clean energy, life sciences, technology, innovation, and a number of other different resources. So I encourage everyone afterwards to visit the website. As Giancarlo mentioned, it is very true. We have a lot of good information on the website, but it can be overwhelming. You can spend a good day just going through everything. So I would still go on the website, kind of look through any of the programs, even if they're programs that are outside of what I just presented on. If there's something that interests you and you don't know who to contact, I'm happy to connect you guys that way. All right, so that that is my team. So we're a small but mighty team. I cover the North Jersey region, so I cover the 7 northern counties, which includes Passaic County. But I have my colleague Kathy, who covers Central Jersey, Jabari, who's in South Jersey, and then Alberto, who supports us statewide. All right. So I'm going to share 5 grants today. Keep in mind a few things. If you're eligible for all of them, you can apply for all of them. So that's the great part. They are non-competitive grants. And they're pretty straightforward. What you will find if you, and while I go through the information, if you're like, maybe I can apply for one of these grants, while they are not hard, they can be tedious on the documentation you have to submit, but they are pretty straightforward. The application itself is as straightforward as it comes. It's pretty much plugging in information and submitting your necessary documentation. All right, so we're going to start with the small business lease grant. So the lease grant provides 20% of your annual lease payment for the first and second year. There's only 2 ways you can qualify for the lease grant. Either moving into a new commercial space and having signed a 5-year lease within the last 12 months, or expanding your square footage. So, key qualifications: having signed a 5-year lease, you have to be street level, having signed that 5-year lease within the last 12 months, and then having a minimum of 250 square feet, although the grant will cover up to 10,000 square feet. So you don't necessarily need to be on a main strip or a main avenue, but that street level space is a must. So you can be a manufacturer who is currently or planning on leasing new warehouse space. Now, the only other way you can qualify is if you add additional square footage. So let's say you've been in your location for 5 years, but maybe there's a commercial space next door to you who went out of business and you plan on taking over that space. If you knock down the wall and add a minimum of 250 square feet, you would be able to apply for the lease grant. So either moving into a new commercial space or expanding your square footage. The way it works is if you are approved for the grant, you would get an initial 20% check based on the total first year's rent. 12 months later, you would check back in with us, making sure you're still at your location. We would issue, you'd have to fill out maybe 2, 3 forms, pretty simple. And then we would issue your second and last 20% check. Now, the best part about the lease grant is you can apply per location. So if you are planning on, if you have an existing location, you're not expanding that one, but plan on opening up a second location or becoming a franchise owner, you can apply per location. So there's no limit on that. Keep in mind, you can't be in default of any state assistance at the time of application. If you operate out of a commercial co-working space, excuse me, you are not eligible for this grant. This is really for folks who operate out of physical commercial locations that are the business occupies on its own. There is a wage requirement. Now, I do like to tell folks you're not required to have employees to apply for these grants. If you don't have employees, you don't have to worry about the wage requirement. The wage requirement only applies to employees who are on payroll and get a W-2 at the end of the year. You will have to pay them 20% above minimum wage. That doesn't go into effect until you're approved for the grant and you sign your grant agreement. If they are tipped employees, for example, folks who work in restaurants, then it'd be 20% above the tipped minimum wage. So keep that in mind. You're going to need something called a tax clearance certificate. Now, that's usually not something you have unless you've ever applied for a state incentive before, but it is issued through the New Jersey Division of Taxation, and it's a certificate that states that your business is in good standing and doesn't owe uh, the state any money. There is $100 non-refundable admin fee, but that is not due until you get approved for the grant and prior to you signing your grant agreement. Moving on to the Small Business Improvement Grant. This is probably the most popular grant across the board for a few reasons. One, it is a reimbursement grant. We will reimburse you 50% up to $50,000 for doing interior, exterior improvements to your commercial space, as well as the purchase of brand new furniture, fixtures, and/or equipment. The second reason it's so popular, it is because it is also open to home-based businesses. So if you are a home-based business, you are eligible to apply for the improvement grant on a limited basis for the purchase of brand new furniture, fixtures, and/or equipment. You do need to meet a minimum of $5,000 in expenses in order to apply, but essentially you can submit up to $100,000 in expenses and get reimbursed 50% of that, the maximum being $50,000. If you are operating out of a commercial location, you do need landlord's permission. All that is a one-pager that your landlord has to fill out, stating that you're in good standing and they're aware of all the improvements you made to the space. If you end up getting less than $25,000 with this grant, you do commit to staying in your facility for 2 years. Anything above that to the max of 50, you commit to staying there for 4 years.
Hey,
It is,
Michelle.
yeah.
Sorry. I have a home-based business, and if I need new siding on my house, would that count?
No, it is specifically for the business. So no capital improvements to your home space. It would only be for the equipment, the furniture, any tangible items.
No new driveway, like if people are
No,
coming over. Darn it.
no. All right. So it is a 2-year look back from the date you apply. So if you decided to apply on March 1st, you'd be able to go back up to March 1st of 2024. So keep that in mind. Similar requirements as the lease grant. The most important thing you have to remember with the improvement grant is documentation. You will need to provide receipts. So if you ordered anything online, whether it's through Amazon or another online retailer, that should be pretty easy. You can PDF the email receipt that you received that shows what you purchased, how much it costs. If you operate out of a commercial location and you're planning on, replacing a sign outside, flooring, painting, electrical, plumbing, anything that has to do with the physical structural improvement, then you need to be able to provide an invoice from the contractor that details exactly the work that was done, how much it cost, and to go along with that, we'll need proof of payment. For us, proof of payment is going to be a bank statement that shows a copy of the check that you used to pay for it, or the credit card statement, or like a Zelle transfer. Cash is very hard to prove. And again, some of the similar requirements, a tax clearance certificate and $100 due at the time of approval. All right, so this is one of my favorite programs, and I think it's the easiest, almost low-hanging fruit that you could take advantage of literally today. So our small business e-commerce support program is a grant of services. While we're not giving you the money up front, what we are doing is giving you an opportunity to work with one of our 6 consultants to either build your business a new website, update an existing website, or create a booking platform or online ordering platform. You have to fall under one of these three categories: restaurants, retail, or personal care business that operates out of a commercial location in New Jersey. So retail is pretty broad. You could be a CPA office, or you could be a laundromat who does pickup drop-off services. Personal care, again, pretty broad. It could be a gym, a wellness studio, a yoga studio, hair salon, nail salon, barber shop, a doctor's office. I've had an optometrist who's been able to take advantage of this program. So it is for restaurants and personal care businesses up to $11,400 in services, retail 10,800. So the way it works is we have six consultants approved to work on this program. So you would have to reach out to one of them, say, "Hey, I own a bakery in Wayne or I own a retail store in Wayne." They would set up an appointment with you. They would sit down with you, kind of assess your needs, whether it's building a website because you don't have one or update an existing website. They would kind of go through everything that can and can't be done. Once you guys come up with a game plan, they'll send that back to us. Once we approve the project, they get started on the work and we pay them directly. It's as simple as that. So these are some of the things they can do. So again, website development, SEO, website optimization, adaptation, online ordering platform, appointment booking platform, and they can also give you a digital marketing plan. And I'm going to stress the word plan because what they're not going to run your social media or manage your ads or anything like that. But what they can give you is a comprehensive plan on how to best market your business. These
Hey,
are the
Michelle,
Yes.
I've got a question, I think, about leasing. So Rich Beezer over at Minuteman Press asked if we are leasing new equipment, lease to own, would all lease payments have to be paid in order to claim the value of the equipment for the grant?
So leased equipment is not eligible. If it is financed, we can do it, but if it's like those lease with a dollar buyout, they're not eligible to get reimbursed because you're just essentially leasing is like renting, right? If you're financing, the goal is to keep it because at the end of a lease, you can either give it back, get a new equipment, or just buy it out with a dollar. So if it is financed, yes, but no lease equipment.
Answer
And
your
yes,
question, Rich?
you can get these slides.
Yes, thank you.
I
Yeah,
promise to send a copy of these over to you guys so you guys can share with everyone.
great. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, so these are the six consultants currently. There's the websites. I always tell anybody who's planning on utilizing this program, go on the website or find them on social media. Look at the work they've done through this program already and see who you feel most comfortable. You can also reach out to more than one. Just let them know you're shopping around and seeing what they offer. Whoever you feel most comfortable with is who you can go with.
And these are all private business owners here?
Yes, they are on contract with the EDA.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant. So this is a pilot program that was launched in 2024. The Main Street Acquisition Support Grant will reimburse businesses up to $50,000 for closing costs for purchasing a commercial property in which the business is going to operate out of. So the closing has to have happened on or after October 1st of 2024. We are well past the year mark at this point. But it is a limit of one application per EIN. You can be a for-profit or nonprofit entity in New Jersey, and that goes for all the grants. You do have to occupy at least 1,000 square feet of the total usable commercial space in that building. What does that mean? So if you're planning on buying a mixed use property, let's say you have commercial at the bottom, residential at the top, as long as your business is occupying 1,000 square feet of the commercial space, you can apply and get up to those $50,000 for closing costs reimbursed. Okay. It does have to be purchased through a conventional lender. So that could be the SBA, it could be your traditional bank, a credit unit, it could be through the NJEDA or any other organization that administers loans with underwriting standards. Only new purchases are eligible, no vacant land. The property does have to have a commercial aspect to it, so it cannot be for residential use only, and it cannot be a refinance of an existing loan. The wage requirement is going to be the same, similar to the lease and the improvement grant. The EDA will place a 5-year deed restriction on the property. So what does that mean? If you are in real estate and you're looking to purchase properties, fix them up and flip them, this is not the program for you because you won't be able to sell the property for 5 years after you get approved. $500 due at the time of approval, and there are some other additional terms and conditions. And again, I will share these slides. You'll have the links. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer that. All right, so our fifth and last grant that we just launched in October is our small business liquor license grant. So the liquor license grant is similar, it has similarities to both the lease and the improvement grant. We will reimburse 50% up to $100,000 for purchasing a previously inactive Class C a plenary retail consumption liquor license. Okay. It does have to be previously inactive, meaning it was not in use at the time of purchase. Okay. You can be a for-profit or nonprofit business that meets the SBA's definition of a small business. I think it's like 99.6% of New Jersey businesses meet that definition. Your business has to be open and operating for at least 12 months prior to you buying that license and applying for the grant. There is a list of all these inactive liquor licenses. We are working with the New Jersey Division of Alcohol Beverage Control, ABC, on this grant. So they have a list and we will verify with them that the license that you purchased was previously inactive. Okay. I'm not sure if there are any restaurants in the virtual room here, but if this is something you're interested in, I'm happy to talk through more with anyone who needs it. All right. So I'm going to give you guys very quickly a high-level overview of our financing resources. A lot of folks don't realize that you can come to the state and borrow money as a business owner. So just to give you guys a little bit of an overview of our lending uses and requirements, we are a fixed asset lender, so we do require a fixed asset to secure any type of loan request. A few things you can use our loans for: refinance of debt, working capital, equipment, machinery financing, as well as commercial real estate purchases. Okay, we can do financing for-profit or nonprofit businesses. So, and just to give you guys a general idea, it is traditionally like the process is pretty much the same as if you were going to the bank. I think the competitive for us comes in on our interest rates. We go based off the U.S. Treasury, 5, 7, or 10. I think last week my colleague in business banking was saying the 10-year Treasury rate was circling just around 4.05%. So you are looking at a low interest rate. Now, on paper, we can go up to 100% of the loan, meaning there is a zero down on your end. Typically, 90% is our sweet spot for lending, but there are deals we've done that have gone 95 and even 100%. This is for our lending purposes, home-based businesses are not eligible. Okay. So there is an interest form if anybody's like, I'm interested in, exploring my options through EDA for financing. You'll have my contact information at the end and you can email me. I'll forward you the interest form and then somebody from our business banking team will connect with you. So these are the 4 lending programs we have. Our loans start at $100,000. They can go up to $5 million. So the small business fund, $100,000 up to $500,000. All we require is 1 full year in business and a credit score of 680. Again, the uses are going to be all the same. Real estate acquisition, machinery equipment financing, refinance, or working capital. Direct loans and Premier Lender program, they are the exact same program. The only difference is the Premier Lender program, we work with over 2 dozen banks. The direct loan is just in its name. It's a direct loan with the EDA. It does start at $500,000, goes up to $2 million. So for both of these, you do have to have at least 2 years in business. And for every $65,000 of EDA borrowed money through these 2 programs, we do expect 1 job to be created or retained. So we are the EDA, so job creation is in our mission. So if you're looking for 650, you have 9 employees and you're like, well, and over the next 2 years, I do plan on adding at least 1 more job in my business. 9 plus 1, 10. 65 plus times 10, 650, that will work out, right? But if you're looking for $1 million and you only have 3 employees, that may not make sense. So just keep that in mind. NJ Lend, again, similar to both the direct loan and Premier Lender program, it just goes up to $5 million. You do have to have 750 or fewer employees, a 700 credit score. Okay. So, again, all of this is on our website. I'm going to share these slides, but I encourage you, if this is something you are serious about looking into, please email me because we would love to speak to you first, make sure that our financing makes sense for you and your business. All right, and that's it. So that's my contact information. That is my work cell phone, so you can call me or text me. I do answer texts. Any other questions on that end?
So I don't see anything in the chat, but what I wanted to ask you and Giancarlo as well is like perhaps like give us an example, like a business and what would you be recommending to a particular business? Let's say, on the phone, on the line, we have realtors and bankers and small business owners here. So um, maybe a little more geared to them, let's try to paint a picture for everybody here. What specifically might be viable for a small business in Wayne?
So what I would say is every business is unique and everybody's business needs are unique. So I can give you an example, but may not be applicable to one or the other. So I'll give you an
Sure.
example. If you have a new restaurant coming in, right? They're planning, it's street level, they're planning on staying there for 5 years. They signed that 5-year lease. They can apply for the lease grant as soon as they sign that lease. They don't even need to be operational. All they have to have is a signed lease and the keys to the space. Now, they're in the space, they have to do their improvements. They have to do the whole build out from soup to nuts. Once they're done doing that, they can apply for the improvement grant, get reimbursed on some of those equipment or renovation expenses. Once their doors are open for business, they can take advantage of the e-commerce, right? Because for the e-commerce grant, your doors have to be open and generating sales. They take advantage, they get a brand new website for their business. Maybe a year or so from now, the landlord wants to sell. They may be like, well, you know what, this is a great opportunity for me to actually own the property. They could get reimbursed through the Main Street Acquisition Support Grant for some of those closing costs. So it really just depends. Again, it's not as black and white as that. I mean, I have so many different businesses that come to me from consultants who have been able to take advantage of some of these grants to traditional brick and mortar retail businesses. So, what I encourage you to do is just understand where your business is and say, hey, you know what? I've been thinking about upgrading. Let's say you are a home-based business. I've been thinking about upgrading my laptops. Maybe you're a photographer, right? Who has cameras, lenses, lighting you've bought over the last 2 years. You don't have a physical location, but you have that equipment that you've purchased. I've spent 10 grand on cameras and lighting and laptops. Get reimbursed for 50% of that. I mean, what I will say is that we're going on year 5 for these grants, okay? So if there's any time to take advantage of it, now is the time. We still have some funding. We should hopefully have some funding through the end of this year. But again, we have new administration, so we don't know what's going to happen to these programs after this year. So if there is at least one grant you could utilize, please do so.
Yeah, I think I would just add on top of Michelle, because hearing Ferris, what you said about the folks in the room, if you're a realtor, if you're a banker, your clients should be taking advantage of these programs. And if you're someone who, works with folks who are landlords, you should be talking to your landlord about using these as incentives for someone to move into your space. So these are real opportunities, especially the lease grant. Like it's a no-brainer for someone to, incentivize a space that maybe has been vacant for a while to then become occupied because, year 1 and year 2, you're getting 20% of your lease paid for, which is great. Beyond that, I saw there was a question about home-based businesses, and I think Michelle kind of answered a little bit in her last response, but I really would take advantage of that e-commerce. No, I'm sorry, not the e-commerce grant, the improvement grant, because you are likely spending money on your business. So again, to Michelle's point earlier, when she explained the grant more fully, you have to make sure that those purchases are business specific. They can't be obviously for the home, but just like you're doing, as you're putting together your taxes, right? Like you're using like a portion of your home for the business, you could think about the percentage of your purchases that are related to your business and then get 50% of those back. So that's a real opportunity because again, depending, I don't know, Marianne, I'm sorry, I don't know what your business is, but I imagine you have costs every single day that add up. And, if you're buying furniture, fixtures, equipment, and that could be anything. I met with a business the other day, and they do have a physical location, but he was saying that like it's a restaurant and they're buying silverware, they're buying plates, they're buying all sorts of things to, use for their business, and that's all eligible. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it all adds up. To Michelle's point, this could, it could be up to $100,000 worth of costs that you've incurred over the last 2 years, and you get 50% of it back.
Hmm. That's fantastic. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Um, for home-based, Patty Holbert asks, can an estimate be provided and approved prior to making the purchase?
Unfortunately, no. The purchase has to already been incurred.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one point about the EDA grants is a lot of them are reimbursable,
Yeah.
with the exception of the e-commerce one, as Michelle mentioned.
Fantastic information. A lot of things I was not aware of, that's for sure. And I'm hoping we open some eyes here on this call as well. Willing to ask anyone who wants to ask any questions over the next couple of minutes, just unmute yourself and talk. Um, and you can talk to Giancarlo or Michelle, any specific questions.
I just do want to add, Ferris, Michelle is a wonderful resource, and not to take anything away from her, but Michelle is covering 7 counties in North Jersey. So you may not get her as quickly as you might get me. So not that, you shouldn't reach out to Michelle, and please do because she's a great resource. Michelle and I talk probably multiple times a week, but and this poor woman is going to see me quite a bit in March in person around the county. But if there are things that I can answer for you quickly, I'm a phone call away. I'm a, quick email away. And again, I'm happy to meet you in person, in Wayne, if that's where your business is located. I'm happy to, come up to you. I don't mind traveling around the county if it's easier to sit down in person and go over some paperwork before you go into the portal on the application. I would ask you, you know, do look at the checklists that are available online. Michelle's going to send you some links. You'll get some links from me too. But try to pull some stuff together. And if you have questions about what might be eligible or what not, I'm happy to sort through that with you as well.
Yeah, and to Giancarlo's point, the one thing the EDA does really well when with these programs is we have, and if I could just share my screen pretty quickly, I just want to share with you guys, just so you guys have an idea of where to find these. I'm gonna share real quick, and where did it go? Okay, here we go. Let's see. All right, so we are on the EDA's website, so njeda.gov. That is our website. So if you're on the main page, if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see these 6 squares. You click on small business services and financing. You scroll down some more, you'll see most of the programs I spoke about. Some of these may or may not be relevant to small businesses in general or for you, but for the most part, all of the ones that I spoke about are on here. So let's say, for example, the Small Business Improvement Grant. If you click on that, and you scroll down on your right hand side, you'll see a number of things. So one, the FAQ, so frequently asked questions. There is a sample application. This is like a 50-page presentation that walks you literally step by step through each and every question that you'll find on the portal when applying for the grant. Okay. This is the brochure. It's an overview. It's marketing materials for you to learn just general about it. But this is one of the most important documents you'll need to download for any program through the EDA. It's the applicant checklist. So if you click on that, you will get the applicant checklist. So this will walk you through all the documentation you're going to need, okay? So the best advice I could ever give anyone is to gather every single piece of document you need for the grants before starting the application process. You're going to need the tax clearance certificate. You click on the link, it takes you to the Division of Taxation's website, how to get your tax clearance certificate. You need your formation documents, your tax filings, your payroll report, landlord certification. You can download it from here. A copy of your deed or lease. So just keep that in mind when thinking about applying for these grants. Prepare yourself beforehand. What's going to take you the longest is gathering those documents. Once you do that, if you go into the portal, the application itself shouldn't take you more than like 30-40 minutes. It's, again, pretty straightforward. It's entering information, uploading the document, moving on to the next step.
This is great information. My name's Claudine Tahan. I'm a realtor in town. I have a commercial building on for sale on Valley Road. So that $50,000 closing cost reimbursement would apply, correct?
Absolutely. So as long as the buyer is going to operate their business out of that property, yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I already texted the owner.
I work with a lot of banks and a lot of realtors. One, I tell them, I said, utilize me as a resource.
Absolutely.
Bankers love it because they get their clients some free money. They have a client for life. Same thing with realtors. I tell them, just use me. Just go ahead and use me. Use me as, you know.
I thank you all, the Wayne Chambers, Joe, everyone. Thank you so much for this webinar. It was fantastic.
Yeah. And Claudine, depending on what that ultimate buyer is going to do, they could take advantage of they might be able to take advantage of the lease grant if they're subleasing a space. They could take advantage of the improvement grant. And Michelle mentioned this, but it's worth saying again, the improvement grant is per EIN. So if you have a business, let's just say, and it's multiple, or if you have a property and it's got multiple storefronts, each individual EIN, each individual business can apply for the grant.
That's great.
So it's a really good resource.
It's a dentist office, and the variance is just for a dentist office. So we've been marketing other dentists, and we have one that's interested now. So it'd be perfect for him to just go over and then improve.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I just want to jump in and say, Michelle and Giancarlo, I can't thank you enough either. And so Ferris, sorry for me to say something here, but instead of you, but no, Ferris, thank you. And really, you two both, we are so lucky to live in New Jersey and Passaic County. And this is just wonderful for the businesses. And we will be putting this on the Wayne Chamber website for the Wayne Chamber members to be able to get this information. And we thank you very much. Ferris, go back to you. Sorry.
Well, that's what I was going to say, so I'm done. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think it has been very, very informative. And will continue to be so as we put this recording up for other people to watch as well, and certainly sharing your contact information. And for our newsletter, I will certainly be writing about this, so we'll be talking and maybe see if we can get further information. But for everyone who joined us on the webinar, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. All we're trying to do is just help each and every one of you become more successful in your business.
Sure.
And so we're going to continue to move forward with events like this and with great speakers like Michelle and Giancarlo. So thank you guys, and hope to see you again very, very soon. Have a great day, everybody. I'm going to be closing out.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.